How would you go to Chipotle and say, "Yo, would you be my Valentine?"
Oh man, I guess maybe I could like
Love is in the air. As of right now, we're recording. Rain is everywhere as well. So dihydrogen monoxide, love, something's in the air no matter what. Welcome to another episode with the idea of holidays and specifically Valentine's. Chris and I were thinking if we had to ask a food court or a food place to be our Valentine's, what would be the food court we would ask? Do you want to take that away, Chris? What would you say for you?
oh yeah. I think if I had to choose one, I would probably say maybe Chipotle.
Chipotle's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I like Chipotle because it's like it's like a little bougie, but like still within like reach, not too expensive. Um it's flexible with like I'm vegan myself, so they have sofritas, so like it's flexible with what it can offer and stuff. That's all I would ask, man. It's got beans, it's got everything I need. It's got everything I need.
Like it's simple, it's efficient, and it's good food. So
That's it.
that's
Exactly.
all you need.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's simple, efficient, got what I want.
Heck yeah. For me, it's funny. So you're mentioning like burritos and stuff. I was talking to a few people and asking random people as well. Like, what would you do? Where would you go? And for me, I would do a poke place, but specifically a name, I would switch to burrito. You're probably familiar with the place. JNS and Montebello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Stellar. I haven't been there in a minute, but the burritos, so good. That would be the place I would ask to be my Valentine's for sure.
Dang. That's a good choice. That's a good place to go at night. And
Mm.
and in the morning too.
Yeah, the breakfast burritos are super good.
Yeah.
The taquitos are stellar. Everything's good. Everything's really good.
I guess another place I would ask to be my Valentine would also be like a burger joints like Jim's Burgers or Ari's or Golden Ox or like Doubles, one of those types of places. Cause of it's so cozy, so comfortable, so like classic. I don't know. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
nice.
you made me think of, so when you said doubles, like doubles is really good. The fries and onion rings are killer. And that
Yes.
made me think of Red Robins. And more importantly, Shakey's though. The Mojos, I don't know. I would definitely might ask two Valentines. It'll be Shakey's and then JNS. If JNS doesn't accept my invitation, I'll go for number two.
Oh, geez, dude. Dang. Then I guess for me, I guess it would be like one more. I guess I would have to say for me too would be Thai food, Thai restaurants. I love Thai food so much, and it's like so like not expensive for what it gives you, like the price and like the amounts and portions. Like I love Thai food so much. Um,
What's your
Thai
favorite
house.
thing to Thai house?
So,
What's your favorite Thai food to get, or what is your favorite food to get at your Thai place?
ooh, I mean, pad Thai is like, of course, excellent. Red curry, Thai red curry with rice. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Damn,
So good.
that's it. Let's go. Let's just end the recording and let's go right now.
Dude, honestly, yeah. Let's go. The Thai house by Elak.
Heck yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
Cool, cool. I'm already there.
Dang, give me like 10 minutes. We'll just like do an intro cut.
Yeah.
So of course with Valentine's and asking someone to be, or at least in this case, our food courts to be our Valentine's, how would you approach that? How would you go to Chipotle and say, yo, would you be my Valentine?
Oh man, I guess maybe I could like what do you got an answer? You got an answer first?
For me, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of it right now. I love corny jokes. I'm not a
Yeah.
dad, but the amount of dad jokes I say, I feel like I could qualify as a dad at that point.
Nice.
So I'm thinking of like a burrito or taquito pickup line, and I got nothing.
Dude, I got
You got one. You got one.
yeah. Um yeah, I always get guac on the side, but I want you to be my main. Would you be my Valentine?
Bam, bam.
Yes.
That's it. That's all you need. That's crazy. I'll
Hell
take
yes,
that.
bro.
That's sauce. That's
It
straight
did.
sauce. Straight sauce.
Hell yeah.
You reminded me, there's an avocado pickup line for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
God, let me look it up real quick. Go on the web.
Avocado, don't you want to be my Valentine? So like, I don't
Hey, there you go. How much do I love guacamole? Avocado, get me started. Yeah.
Avocado, don't get me started. I saw your facial reaction. It was like, it's
It's the idea. It's there.
there, it's there. There's something there. Um,
Okay. So this is more for tacos. It's like you, me, date, let's talk about it.
nice. Yes, 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 yes.
That's all we need. But if you're vegan, then I'm like, dang, let's get some fish tacos. I promise it's not fishy.
There you go. Yes. I love that.
I remember in my middle school, in my elementary school, we made shoe boxes and
Yes.
people would just go around and just put that stuff. Was that the same thing for you?
My mom's a teacher and she would do that with cereal boxes.
That's smart.
Yeah, and shoe boxes too. But yeah, she would use a lot of cereal boxes.
That's so cool. I
Yeah.
remember when I was a kid, there was this girl I really liked in class, and I had no game at all. I did not know how to talk to girls at all. I'll be honest, even now. But anyways,
You know.
so so I remember there was this one card. It was a Pokemon card. It said "You plus me equals love." I'm like, all right, bet. So I walk up to the girl I liked, and I just put that specific card in her box. And that was it.
Dude, that's game right there. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not
Oh
even being
man.
like I feel like the older we get, the more sincere stuff like that works. I feel like I mean obviously like if you're talking to the right person, if it's like a type of person who like isn't I think or maybe like I don't know, maybe as you get older, you figure out more the type of people like you like jive with and like who already jive with you, I guess maybe.
That
Yeah.
is true because like when we really think about kind of going on a more serious um direction, that when it comes to like Valentine's and relationship and love, like unless I could be wrong, like it's just maybe my old fashioned ways is that when you're dating someone, you eventually want to marry them and be a partner. So as you get older, as we get older, we tend to have those values like, okay, this is something I want, this is a non-negotiable, and that ends up not minimizing our options, but it makes it easier to, I guess, fall in love, you could say, or
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. It's like having standards. Like when you have like those standards or like the things you kind of expect, like you're not necessarily imposing those things on the other person. You're just kind of saying like, hey, like these are things I kind of want. And if you don't want that, like that's fine, but like maybe we're just like not like, you know, maybe like we should
uh,
recognize what it is, you know. I
yes,
yeah, I see that. I definitely think that like I mean, like they say, like any relationship, the whole thing is like compromise too. I kind of see that now. I'm talking to someone right now, and there's definitely things about like each other that like we're both kind of like well like about, but like I don't know, like there's so many things about her that I'm kind of like I really do like that. I really, especially like having like had a couple relationships already, is like you know I kind of do like these. I really like these things about you, and like the other things are kind of like even if they are like maybe like red flags. No, not even red flags. They're not even red flags. She doesn't really have like red flags like that. I guess it's just kind of like things that I'm kind of like, you know what, we could work on that because there's things I got to work on about myself too. Anyways, like I'm not nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's a big thing too, is like with us, like a lot of times we're looking at what someone has, what they can provide. We're not really looking at what we can provide as well. It goes back to like
exactly.
that mutualness. It's like, yeah, no, it's huge. As I think as someone who's dating someone right now, I'm actually in partnership, not even dating. Oh my goodness. It's it's
Yeah,
interesting. It's like there's a certain point, there's that dating phase where we're getting to know each other, going through the butterflies and nervousness. Like I got to be my best self. And then as time goes on, you're like, okay, time to show some flaws. Here are the ups and downs. Is this something we want to be with? Or is this, like you said, are we compatible? And
right.
are we willing to be mature and talk about disagreements and just communicate at the end of the day?
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, because those things like never end. Um, that's one thing that I feel like I hear like I think it's funny that you said like kind of old fashioned. Like you said like oh maybe that's my old fashioned way of looking at it. I definitely feel like I don't know. Part of me is like maybe that it was old fashioned, but then another part of me is like maybe people have always been that way though. There's always been like people who are just single their whole lives. There's always been people who are just kind of like in and out of like marriages, and that's okay. Like like as long as like there's no abuse going on, it's like you got to figure stuff out. That's okay. Um, that's always been a thing. That's never not been a thing. It's just now with social media, you see it more than ever. Maybe it is. I could definitely see it being more prevalent though because of how much more like hyper. I don't want to say hypersexual. Like I feel like society's always been kind of like sexual. Like that's not new. Like look at Marilyn Monroe. Look at all that stuff before Betty Page. Like that's not new.
It's always been around.
It's always been around. Yeah, I mean, like they say, like what's the oldest profession in the book? It's like literally, it's like that's always been a thing. And yeah, like yeah, I guess like but there is definitely something to like how easy it is. I think sometimes I feel like people aren't meant to be as connected as we are. Like sometimes I remember I thought that a lot during the pandemic where I was like, dude, I don't think my brain is wired to be able to take in like the thoughts of millions of people all at once. I think my brain is wired to like operate within a village at most, maybe
Right.
a city, like um, and obviously, there's so many benefits that come with technology of being able to like prune your circle and who you're surrounded with. You can make friends who are like on the other side of the world because of video games. I know lots of people. I've had friends who are like in different countries because of like video games, and really cool people. And that's awesome. At the same time, though, I feel like all that overstimulation definitely frays some wires that are like where like people like find themselves being like I don't know if I can settle I don't know if I'll ever settle down. It's like I mean if you have that mentality you probably never will. Like if you approach it like you said like if you go forward with the mentality of like what can someone offer to me? It's like okay, well like step back and ask yourself the same thing, like not
Yeah.
even to be a dick or anything, just like honestly.
It's true. Someone I remember a quote. I don't remember where I read this though. It's something that's I kept with me for a minute. It's people. It goes on along the lines that it's a waste of time to chase butterflies. So why not create a garden so butterflies will come to you? Now,
Totally.
this isn't in terms of relationships, but in terms of like surrounding yourself like with pruning, surrounding yourself with the right people, and
Yeah.
eventually with the right people, you meet that partner that you've been wanting to be with, or
Yeah.
you that person will come. We are we are designed, whatever term you want to put in, to make connections with people. Maybe not
Right.
like in a one-on-one personal connection like that, but we're designed to relate to each other, to connect. We're human beings. We love that
Yeah.
connection. And I think too, uh, in terms of relationship, this is something I had to work on for a minute, is that I thought like my partner needed to make up for what I was lacking. In reality, it's not that.
No, man. Yeah. I turns out my last relationship definitely prior to like the person I'm talking to right now, which was like like definitely left some scars on me for sure. And I'm sure I wasn't perfect either. I know I wasn't. Um, and it never got super like like it never got it became toxic for sure, but it never became like, oh, we can't come back from that. Like it never got that bad, but it definitely got to a point where we were definitely like not doing the best for each other. And I always thought that like, man, I like confrontation. I'm good with confrontation. I can handle confrontation. No, man, turns out with my new partner, like her and like other friends and other friends of hers have pointed out to me like, dude, like you're not good at saying what bothers you when in the moment. And they're right. They're right. And I'm working on it. I'm getting better. That like when something bothers me, I have a tendency to bottle it up and
Yeah,
not say anything. I just kind of like hold my tongue.
you did. Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
it's so much easier to do that though. Like in the long run, it's very dangerous.
exactly. Because then we were in an argument one time, and I brought up something from like a week before, and she was like, "Dude, I'm telling you something that like you did that like really bothered me, and I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I'm just telling you like that really bothers me, and you're throwing something in my face." And I was like, "You're right. That is what I'm doing. That's not cool. Like, you're right. That's not cool. Why am I doing that?" And now I've really been like kind of checking myself in my daily life of being like, no, it does bother me. Hey, can you please stop that? Like even like with anyone, um, or even just kind of even just removing myself from situations where I'm like, this is dumb. Like this is not good for me, and this is not respectful to me. I'm just gonna step out. You know, like and it's good. It feels great actually. It feels really good to do it. It feels really great. Even like with her, like with times where I say something and she's like, "Oh my God, like another thing bothers you." It's like, "Yeah, man, like I'm expressing it though." But then like you said, like with the maturity thing, like it it's like an issue for like 10 minutes maybe, and then it's like, "All right, whatever." It's like it's past. And it doesn't get carried over to the next day, which is something that would happen before with an older partners on both ends, not just them doing it. I would do it the same. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe I guess I've matured to the point where I can kind of just be like, you know what, this is bothering me. But at the end of the day, maybe it's like my ego, like making it a bigger issue than it really is. I just want to enjoy my time here right now.
Yeah.
And once I do that, I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm having a great time. That was ridiculous. I don't care anymore. Like, you heard what I said, right? Like, yeah, I heard you said, like, okay, so you know that bothers me, and you know why it bothers me. And they're like, yeah, yeah, I know. Like, I can't promise I'm not gonna ever gonna do it again, but I'll be careful with it. I apologize. I didn't mean to. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry too. I probably could have reacted in a better way. It's like but like, and then I think because like she's like asking me for like, is this good? Is this healthy? It's like I don't know, but like I don't. No two people ever agree on anything all the time, ever.
I mean, like when you put, it's so interesting. Like when you put relationships into the perspective that you have people from two maybe very different build-ups, backgrounds, just so many different variables that are going to mesh together. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be
Totally.
differences for sure. So the question is, like we were saying earlier, how do we handle those conflicts? How do we handle those situations? And at
Yes.
the end of the day, are we willing to admit that either we're wrong, we're right, or just talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah. Come up with a solution.
Yeah, it's like, are we
Yeah.
solution minds? Are we solution finders or are we problem seekers?
That's a good one. Solution finders or problem because some people I've been a problem seeker. I sometimes I am a problem seeker. That's a thing in my damn. That's a good way you put it, man. Because that's definitely something I do. I have a tendency to do. I don't do it as much, but that is something I have a tendency to do sometimes. Where it's like I look for an issue and I have to fucking tell my. I'm sorry, I curse. I'm sorry, I curse some.
We're
I
chilling. We can curse. We're vibing.
but like I had to freaking like tell myself like, dude, you're trying to find an issue here, but like you already communicated how you feel on it, and so far like you've both done good efforts to like meet each other. Like, oh, okay, that bothers you. Like, be respectful of that. Like we always do, and it's like I guess that's just like a holdover of like a more immature like self. Older like coping mechanisms that like I need to find new more healthy ones for not only healthy for the relationship but healthy for myself as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true. I'm trying to, I'm thinking of some reason, I'm thinking of like water for some reason. Like this is going to be a very bad analogy because I'm just thinking out of on the dome.
I
We're
love
not even going
analogies.
there. We're gonna full send it. So think of us as water. So water is, for the most part, is pure. But once you put a little bit of contamination in it, that water that's being poured out has that contamination with it. So unless we treat that water so it can be pure again, that
Right.
stream of contaminated water is still going to linger.
Yeah.
I have no clue where I
Yeah.
was going with that, but
No, no. I see what you're saying. It's like coping mechanisms. The coping mechanisms we have allow us to cope, but that doesn't mean that they're conducive to like finding solutions or even achieving like a healthy conclusion. Like it might filter the water, but if the filter is dirty, well then it's not drinkable. Like you're saying, that's what I took away from it at least is that like yeah, like I guess finding healthy coping mechanisms is like changing your water filter because maybe one coping mechanism worked for you at one point in your life. Maybe you underwent a lot of trauma. Maybe you were in a very, very stressful situation where you just needed to be a certain way or behave a certain way or carry on a certain way to survive
yeah,
emotionally, mentally, physically. Like that's valid. Um, but if your gut reaction is to strike when you feel scared, well then you're gonna hit someone when they weren't even trying to hurt you. And that's like, and then that's what are you gonna say? Like, oh, you're trying to hurt me? Like, no, I wasn't.
I
Oh,
was
my,
offering your hand. I was just trying to help out.
exactly. Yeah, you're gonna bite the hand that feeds you. And so, yeah, no, yeah, that's really, man. It's so interesting, man. I feel like that's one. I know. I guess that's one thing. I guess I will say about modern like society too, and maybe like American society specifically, because I hear people say that a lot. But it's like how one thing I guess can be said is like hyper individuality. This idea that like I'm a nation unto myself and I can figure myself out and I can operate within myself and be sufficient. And it's like no. Actually no. Like maybe to some degree you can. Maybe to some professional degree you can. Maybe in a personal degree you can. But like in a social, well, that's impossible. And even in a professional, it's impossible because we're social. Yeah, it's not possible at all.
It really
It's
isn't.
like it isn't because people, especially like a lot of grind set guys, like to be like, work on yourself first, figure out your mental. Don't waste your energy on like, they love that stuff.
Yeah. And if you tie it into that too, is that people are grinding. What the heck are they grinding for? What's the reason?
Right.
Rarely, when you get down to it, when you remove all of the noise and all that, those ideas, you're gonna find that there's a reason, and it's for someone. It's either to
Yeah.
provide, it's either to prove something, it's to be accepted, or
Right.
it's to feel worthy, which ties into that lack of connection.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you are right that it's very difficult. I think I believe that I would argue it's impossible to want to do things for truly for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Because if you were truly about doing things for yourself, well then you wouldn't be living in a society. You just wouldn't. You want to like do things for yourself, well then you could just be as and this isn't to downplay the issue of houselessness. It's a big crisis. But if you were truly about just self-sufficiency, well then you would just be houseless. You would just go and live in the woods because well there you're on your own. Like you're not getting the electricity that is generated by coal that other people farm. You're not eating food that other people cultivated. You're not receiving services that other people provide. You're not driving a car that other people put together. You're not, there's no such thing as self-sufficiency. There never was. Never ever 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 was because self-sufficiency in the time even in the times of like the Stone Age, self-sufficiency was tantamount to death.
Yeah.
That's why we're winning the evolutionary like race at this moment. We'll see. you
Yeah,
know?
we'll see.
But
We'll see in a few years.
yeah, um, but yeah, like that's what separates us from like viruses and like microorganisms. Like sure, there's more of them, but like they literally need us. They literally need to like cannibalize us to survive. So that's what kind of set. That's like yeah, like the whole. And so I think that kind of like going into like relationship thing is like Because for a while I was in that mentality. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like, I'm not ready for a relationship. I need to keep on working on myself. There's things about myself I need to fix. And like when I find the one, I want to be ready. I want to keep on finding people. I want to keep on meeting people. And like I wasn't in like that. I wasn't like that lost in the sauce of it either. I've never been like a grind set guy.
Yeah.
Um, like no, that's a lie. I am, but like in my own way. I am in my own way. I don't think everyone should have their same grind. I think everyone should have their own grind and whatever works for you. Because I think a grind is healthy. Uh,
That
e-
motivation and that desire to do something.
exactly. Ambition, something, you know? And whatever you want to call it. Some people might not like the word ambition. That's okay. Maybe some people might not like the word grind, and that's okay. But, yeah, like, but then, like, once I started talking to this person, I'm kind of like, huh, no, I kind of respect the way that you kind of approach things and the way you kind of like view things. And it's different from me, but also similar enough that I can kind of like respect it and be like, I respect the direction. Um, and like, yeah, it's like I feel like I can help, and like I definitely feel like she says similar things of like, oh, I want to like be able to like to offer something, and yeah, like it's yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing.
It's funny
Yeah,
too. I remember a few friends and acquaintances, even strangers, talk about it's pretty funny that a lot of these individuals, at least from the people I talk with, that they want to be better, be a better version of themselves. And they're not always consistent until they meet someone that is like that puts them head over heels. And that motivation is something that allows a lot of people to get into that grind mindset to become a better person. So
definitely.
it's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and like and again, I feel like that's another thing that kind of like gets like downplayed or kind of like like kind of crapped on a little bit is that like you should not be doing things to impress females. It's like yeah, I feel like that's like a thing. Like you should not be doing things to impress the opposite like sex or like whoever you're attracted to, you know, of course.
Right.
Like you should not be doing things. It's like why not? It's like why not? Like it's like I mean, obviously I'm doing things because I like it, obviously. But it's like we said before, it's like there's an element of all grind. There's an element of all things like you know you're being watched by others. Unless you're like a sociopath, unless you're like a something, unless you're a special. No, I don't want to say sociopath. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know anything. But like, unless
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll just say unless like you're a special like there's always special exceptions, of course. There's no such thing as an absolute, but that's an absolute statement.
Right in its own.
but yeah, no, it's like it's like there's always exceptions to the rule. But still, like, you know, like in everything you do, you're kind of like seeking some type of external validation. And I feel like that gets kind of demonized, but it's like, what's wrong with that? I don't know. What's wrong with wanting your homies to be like, hey man, that's sick. Like, what's wrong with like wanting like a girl or like or your crush to walk to be like, oh, you look nice today. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's so fun. I hear kids like talk about it like, especially like kids and like in high school, they're like, dude, oh, I don't care about girls. It doesn't matter what they think. And I'm like, what's your
Then
problem, dude?
one girl, they like they come in and then all of a sudden they're answering questions.
Yup. Or they get back with their ex that they've literally been like, no, she was the wrong one for me. Dude, she was just holding me back. And they get back with her. And
He's
I'm
like,
like,
I was at fault, I made mistakes.
exactly. Yep. Exactly. All of a sudden, all those sad John Wick TikTok edits, they're meaningless. All of a sudden, all those Jim, John Wick, freaking, like, you know, those guys edits.
That boy
All of a
out,
sudden,
no fairs is like, I'm done. No more dating.
no more dating, or the David Goggins ones too. Like, you
Yeah.
need to focus on yourself. Why aren't you getting active every day?
He's
All
like,
this,
not
all
worth
of it.
it. Don't cry over it.
Don't cry over it. What do you do? Cry? Go do some push-ups. It's like
Go to
I
the
can
gym. That's it.
go to
That's
the,
it.
you can go to the gym. You can still cry too. It's okay. You can do both. No one says.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so interesting too, because even as kids, trying to think of the theorists, and I don't remember off the top of my head, people can look this up, that as kids, there's this time frame that are doing, we are mimicking, we are imitating, so we can be accepted and wanted. Because as a kid, if we feel ostracized,
Right.
that ain't fun. And
No.
that trails on as we get older. We learn what's accepted, what's not accepted based on our surroundings. Even Rothenberg talks about that. There's theory of social cultural development, I believe, that we become a product or at least the chaos of our environment. And
Oh, interesting.
it's yeah, it's true. We're again, it ties back to that. We have that fear of being alone and isolated, which can also tie into fear of why we don't do other things, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, see, that's so interesting. And like, and the whole like idea of like, and so, but yeah, so like, that's just one thing I'm kind of like been recognizing again of like, there's just like some truths that like I think people want to like debate. No, that's not true. I think I'm projecting. There's some truths that I want to debate or that I want to challenge about my own humanity, about myself. And
Right.
maybe I'm projecting by saying other people, but I know there are some truths within myself that I want to believe about my own individuality and my own like independence and my own like self-sustainability. When now where I'm being faced with it with gun to my head, like the situation of like having another person there who I kind of like want to be with and talk to and like express things to, I realize now it's like, oh no, yeah, I do want to be recognized and like appreciated in these ways by another person. And it's not everything to me. My life's not going to end if it doesn't happen because it's
Yeah.
happened before. I've had relationships end, and I'll be fine. But it's like, man, do I like this person enough to like try and like kind of convey this and kind of like work through these problems that like at the end of the day may also just kind of be me. Some of them might just be me and not them, and recognize that within myself, like, dang, what am I doing and why am I feeling that way? What can I do? Because those feelings aren't going to go away. Those inadequacies aren't going to go away.
Yeah.
But this way that I'm using to cope isn't healthy for them and definitely not for me. So what can I do that's like, how can I change my behavior in order? Because you could only change your mind. You could change your mindset. You could change it. You could change your mindset externally by changing your behavior. What behavior can I change that will change my thought process, which will change my mindset, and I don't know, result in like a change where like I don't lose that insecurity because it's within me,
Yeah.
but maybe like I develop a different coping mechanism. Like, you know what, like, yeah, so what? It's like, it's just me.
It happens.
It's like, yeah,
I think it's being okay with not just who you are, but who you are becoming. And I'm still working on that to this day. It's like I'm nowhere
art.
near where I want to be, though I'm okay. It's a lie to say I'm okay with where I'm at right now, but
No, it's okay. I get it.
yeah, I'm working on being okay with
Yeah,
where I'm at because we're here at this time period for a specific reason. Whether we know what the reason is all up in the air, though. Sometimes we don't need
right.
it at the end of the day.
No, no, no. And sometimes it just kind of gets in the way. It's like wanting to know why. It's like, why is this happening? Sometimes asking like, why are things the way they are isn't as important as why am I doing what I'm doing? And sometimes even that question is like, why am I doing what I'm doing isn't like as important as like, how am I going to do it? Because like more often than not, the reason to why you're doing it is because you want to. Well, why do I want to? I don't know, dude. Like, because you want to.
Keep digging. You'll find out the answer.
Right, exactly. Keep digging, or take a step back if you want to.
Yeah,
If you want to do that, you could either keep digging or you could take a step back and get some perspective. But
yeah,
keep digging. Sometimes you just gotta keep digging. Sometimes that's the only way to find it. That's the only way. Only way.
yeah. And then sometimes there actually isn't a way, and it's just for enjoyment, which is good too.
So what? Yeah. Oh well. I recently I told the person I'm talking to where it's like it was like something, but it was like oh, I won't get super specific, but it was like something like about like me, and I was just kind of like, look, man, that's like kind of the way I am. And wasn't anything toxic or like offensive within each other. Like she wasn't even, it wasn't even like that big of a thing. But I was
Yeah,
just kind of like, look, man, I'll be honest, dude. Like this is kind of like the way I am, and like that's not gonna change. And like I'm not gonna, and I don't want to change it because that's like who I am. And I know it's like, and like if that's like if you're not cool with that, like you gotta know, like I'm not gonna change that. Like I'm that
exactly.
kind of guy.
Yeah,
Um, And now like anytime I kind of assert that, that's one thing I've kind of learned about like this going into this is like more boundaries and more kind of like asserting myself and like what I'm proud of, even things that I'm not necessarily proud of about myself, but I want to be more proud of because it's who I am. And
Yeah.
the first, like I said, the first step to like being proud of who you are maybe is taking steps to behave proud of who you are. It's like to accept those things. You don't have to be proud of them, but as long as you accept them and recognize them, it's like I'm an emotional guy. It is what it is. I'm an emotional guy. Sometimes I get sad and like I need a hug. That's it. I just do. And it's like, it's like, how does that come off? Is that like, does that like signify like a lack of confidence? Okay, maybe, but it's still who I am. And I promise you, I'm confident in all these other ways. So if this one thing makes you think I'm not confident, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's like, I feel like I showed that I am confident, but whatever. But I don't know. But like, it's all been discussed. It's no big deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll end it there is that at the end of the day, if you're okay with who you are or who you're becoming,
Yeah.
the input or the ideas that other people have are way less valuable because you have an idea of who you are, that self identity. There's a better term for it, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you know your why and who you are, they're not a fit person isn't going to eat fast food because they know what it does to the body, much like people's opinions.
Exactly. And only and people can only accept you as much as you like accepted yourself too.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So that's all we got. We transitioned totally from asking a food to talking about relationships. Was this on purpose? Maybe not. Just click record. That's how it is. We start off with an idea and we end up somewhere else. So yeah, if you like the episode, share it with someone, do a like, do your usual whatever young age things people do, because I'm getting old now, so I'm becoming obsolete.
No.
It's like if you go to the dictionary and you see old, I'm not there yet, but I will be. But yeah, PSA, pass a smile, stay safe, always be awesome. We'll see y'all next time.